we plan on actually having a conversation this evening. So appreciate you, Millicent.
Yep. So just FYI, we are live on YouTube. So when we do get to Q&A, if you don't want the entire, thousands of people to hear your question or comment.
We plan on actually having a conversation. So
yeah.
You,
yeah. So just FYI. All right, hold on. Got to mute myself on YouTube. All right, this looks good. This works. All right, so let's go ahead and do a screen share. We do have some slides to share with you guys today. Again, this will still be pretty informal, but I do want to go ahead and share these slides to help us stay on topic. If you hear any kids in the background, just please disregard that, okay? Appreciate y'all. All right, so I'm Danielle Pierce, co-founder of Mindset to Money, here with my business partner, Thomas KR Stovall. I think this is our first public video together. So I feel like this is a very momentous occasion. What do you think, Thomas?
I think I agree. You got the whole KR. Everybody who knows me knows I'm particular about you got to say the full name. My parents branded me. I'm the only Thomas KR Stovall on earth. Check Google, I promise. So we got
the only one on earth?
On earth, Google it.
You sure about that?
That's what Google tells me.
Okay, got you. All right, so first I want to start with some background about Mindset to Money. So this is a new, new to you guys, a new entity. We actually started it probably about a year or so ago. And our goal, hold on one second. Okay, go ahead. We want to start off by explaining, what exactly is Mindset to Money. And the first thing we want to start with is explaining the 6-ring money cycle. The 6 rings, I think, has such a great ring too, because of, I'm from Chicago, so is Thomas. And so whenever we think about 6 rings, we think about Michael Jordan and the Bulls from 91 to 93 and 94 to 96. So Thomas, you want to share about the specifics on the 6 rings?
Yeah, so Danielle and I have been through a lot. The majority of our entrepreneurial career has been spent being broke. And, anybody who's been an entrepreneur for a long time understands that it's the story of the 15-year overnight success as far as social media goes. I've been an entrepreneur for a long, long time, more than half my life. And in the last few years, it seems like things have started to hit a little bit more of a flow. And we started to notice some patterns, some really simple patterns around, kind of how money moves and how people who make money move at different points in their career. And so there are kind of 6 unique phases in its simplest form for what we call the money cycle. Stage 1, or ring 1, as we like to call it, is survival mode. And said simply, when you're in survival mode, that's when you're struggling to put food on the table. You're kind of check to check. You don't know where money is coming from day to day. And a lot of us who are entrepreneurs understand survival mode very well, right? But that's stage 1 of survival mode. Stage 2, or ring 2, is financial stability. And you'll notice when we're going to pull out a graphic later on, and you'll kind of see their colors associated with each ring. Survival mode is red, as you might guess. Ring 2 for financial stability is brown, boring brown. And all that means is you're at a place where the bills are paid every month, right? You got some consistent income. There's nothing left over at the end of the day, but the bills are actually paid. And ring 3 is where we move on to financial, financial flexibility. And so the color for financial flexibility is orange. It's a little bit of a playtime, right? Your bills are paid, you got a little bit of surplus, you can do a few things, buy a few new pair of clothes, do a little bit of travel. And a lot of times people get stuck at that point because you're not actually taking that money and investing it somewhere. We're just kind of living life, buying toys.
One more thing too, I wanted to ask, since we're on stage 3. I also feel like stage 3 is kind of danger time too, because it's a time when that first, I think, hint of being financially stable is very seductive and alluring, and you start out buying things that you really can't afford to buy, and then you quickly realize you don't have the money that you thought you did, right? You're not doing quite as well as you thought you were. And so that I've had that experience a few times. And it's like every time it happens, I'm stunned. I'm like, oh, and it's like getting hit upside the head, like, damn it, we're here again. But it really does have a lot to do with I think conditioning over years of struggling and then just, mindset in general. But go
Yeah,
ahead. I just wanted to
no,
say
for
that.
sure. So stage 3 is that orange. You start to play a little bit. You got a little bit more space. And ring 4, stage 4, is financial independence. And so at that point, you're at a place where you've got plenty of surplus coming in. Bills are more than paid. You can do a lot of things. And the best place to start looking is buying some passive income generating assets. So in ring 4, you've got some surplus, bills are paid. You start buying passive income generating assets. And the color for ring 4 is blue. You got a little bit calm now. You know what it feels like to have a little bit of money in the bank. You can chill out for a little bit. It's starting to feel normal being able to pay the bills and do some things. And a lot of us end up just sitting there for a long time. We get comfortable, we get stagnant, and it's just like, man, when you've had your head underwater for so long, can I just breathe for a minute? I'm tired of working. I'm tired of scuffling. I can finally chill out. And it's dangerous in ring 4. You can chill out in ring 4 for a long time. You can be a 7-figure person in ring 4, because the way that we think about it is passive income generating assets. And that's why I really like this 6-ring structure, because when we've broken this down for people, we've had folks who are high net worth in our networks who are like, wow, I'm actually still in ring 4. I thought that I was totally financially free. But when they look at it, they've got a high net worth, they've got a high revenue generating business, but they're not in a position where if they stop working or if something happened, that income stream will be gone right away because their lifestyle is soaking up all of that money. So ring 5 is that's when we get into financial freedom. Ring 5 is green. And the way that we think about ring 5 is basically when you have enough passive income, right, to cover all of your actual day-to-day expenses, that's when we say that's financial freedom, not beforehand. And so it's really important inside of this distinction. We're kind of creating our own structure here based on what we've seen for people who have the time freedom, the money freedom. You got to have passive income generating assets. And there's different types of passive income. There's passive where you really don't do anything. And then there's active passive, which is mostly what we've seen, which is a lot of real estate investment where you may have a lot of money coming in, but you still are having to manage stuff all the time. You got to wake up, you got stuff on your mind. And so we want to have passive income generating assets that are covering our entire income. That's financial freedom. You do not have to wake up and do a thing. You can pretty much retire. And ring 6 is what a lot of people talk about, but so few of us have the opportunity to actually put in place is generational wealth. It's legacy. That is having structures and process in place where 2, 3, 4 generations down the line, your kids are taken care of based on decisions that you made in this lifetime. And I think that for a lot of us, it feels out of reach, but you don't have to be a 50 millionaire, 100 millionaire to set generational wealth structures in place. We can do that within a lifetime. And so that's the 6 rings.
All right. And so since we if you guys are comfortable, you can go. I'm going to explain like how you kind of know which ring you're at. So ring 1, I know intimately well. I've spent all of my childhood, all of my 20s, all of my 30s in pretty much in ring 1. So ring 1, as Thomas said, is survival mode. It's basically just not having enough time. You don't really have any specialized knowledge, meaning that could mean you didn't go to college. It could also just mean that there is nothing that you do work-wise that makes you unique. Inconsistent income, your basic living expenses are not covered. So maybe you are, choosing between life insurance or buying groceries or paying rent or paying school fees, things like that. And you have no cash reserves. So basically, ring 1 is probably much of America, if we're honest about it, meaning that I think, I don't know what the latest statistic is, but I think 45% or half the country can't afford to cover $1,000 emergency. So that is ring 1. And ring 1 it's just stressful, low patience. I feel like ring one is if you if you got kids, you probably believe in whooping your kids because you're stressed out all the time. Ring one is something. And again, I've spent all of my childhood and much of my adult life there. When we talk about ring two, which is, wait, I lost my notes.
Financial stability.
Yeah, ring two is you are still a little bit stressed, and maybe feeling a little bit uncertain as well. And you also probably start to feel like you are behind the curve. Anybody watching feels like, man, everybody else is doing so much more than what I am, or I should be farther along, or I should be doing this, or everybody's into real estate, I should be doing that. That kind of classifies the second ring. Third ring is where you feel like you made it. This is where Thomas and I, we frequently talk about this fear of, I guess, of being like broke again, like being super broke, where you're always like looking around the corner, looking over your shoulder, always like kind of second guessing the decisions that you make and wondering like, man, is this, if I get sick, what's going to happen? If something happens to me, who's going to take care of my kids? There's just this feeling of watchfulness that kind of permeates every decision that you make. I think that's a good way to describe ring three. And then ring four is you have an above average lifestyle. It is a dangerous time, but you're not quite able to afford the professional help that's needed to ring up. So I'm gonna tell you what I mean by that. So I sent Thomas this article the other day, and it was how the wealthy, super wealthy, avoid taxes. And it was a pretty great article, but it was really complex in the strategies that it described. And we talk frequently about how there's so many different things that you can do in terms of, not paying taxes or reducing taxes or planning for the next generation, but it requires access to a certain network of professionals. And man is getting access to that certain network of professionals. It costs money. And I feel like it's almost a good old boys club too, in the sense that you got to kind of know where to go to get this type of help. Thomas and I were we were in Austin. We're part of Lifestyle Investor. This is Justin Donald's mastermind. It's $50,000 to be a member for a year. And most of the people in that group are high seven figures, eight figure earners. But there were a handful of folks there with eight figures in revenue in their respective businesses who had not paid taxes. And I just remember being like blown away that like this was a thing. And one guy got up there and explained kind of how he did. Most people are in real estate in some capacity when they're pulling this off.
Yeah, I think you should clarify that because that might have sounded like didn't pay taxes, like held out but owed taxes. Make sure you're clear what you're saying, like that
they didn't owe taxes,
right?
They didn't owe taxes. That is the distinction. So not like they,
Yeah.
kind of circumvented the IRS, but they just didn't owe any taxes. And there's actually like legitimate strategies behind it. And you sit in there and you're like, damn, I'm paying all this money in taxes, right? Payroll tax. In Texas, there's no state tax, but income tax, all these different things. And these people are, have eight figure net worths and, have zero tax liability. So that was a pretty interesting thing to see. So that describes like level 5. And really that is where you just, it costs money to get that type of help. It's not, the local CPA you see advertising on Facebook and Google. It's not, your homegirl who went to school and got an accounting degree. It's not people like me who actually have accounting degrees who don't use them. These are specialized financial professionals that you need to have access to in order to pull off these objectives. But it costs money and quite a bit of money as well. So I think that's all I wanted to cover for that. As far as how do you feel? Did I leave anything out?
I don't think so. Let's just track with the slides.
All right. And then I didn't see anybody comment below. Let me see if y'all said what level y'all at. Somebody said yes, definitely. Somebody else said their camera is broken. Oh, sorry to hear that. So that's how you know which ring that you're on. And then how do you know when it's time to ring up? Thomas, you want to address how do you know when it's time to ring up?
In every section, I mean, every different ring is a little bit different. So, I think that it's important to understand that everybody doesn't have the same financial goals, right? Some people are actually really comfortable just being in ring 3, and that's what they aspire to. But I think was more interesting here is maybe for us to talk about why we have like been on this particular journey, why we've been interested in doing things like spending 50 grand on an investor mastermind. That's something I could have not wrapped my head around a couple years ago. But that thing that I did now has me less than a year later in a position where I bought 12 cryptocurrency mining rigs that paid me, well into 12, 13 grand a month. And that more than covers my, my monthly personal expenses if I wanted to. I don't touch any of that money, but that's less than a year. I could actually retire. But I would not have even been looking at that opportunity unless I was in a mindset where it was like, I want to move from ring 4 to ring 5. So just so y'all are clear, I don't view myself as rich, and Danielle doesn't either. We're both in our minds firmly in ring 4, trying to get to ring 5. And so part of the reason why we're doing some of the things that we're doing is because we're clear we want to get to ring 5 more so for our family and our community. But like, we could chill in ring 4 and be good. This is plenty of money that's available, but we have bigger aspirations for the next generation. Everybody might not think like that. And so I think for me, it's important to just talk about why that matters to me. I'm just a community guy. I want to get to ring 5 and ring 6 because I have aspirations to impact Earth, right? That's what I feel like I'm here for.
I
Danielle
don't
likes
share
to
those
impact
aspirations.
people. Yeah, like we talk about this, talk about vision. Danielle cares, but like it's like, well, let me take care of my family. If I impact people on the way and they jump on my YouTube, that's cool. But yeah, it's not. We think about it in different ways. So
Yeah, like that time you said if you were on your deathbed, you'd be thinking about all the people that you could have impacted that you didn't. And I was like, I don't think I'd be thinking about that at all. Like that wouldn't even cross my mind. But for you, it's like a very pressing and real thing to make sure that you get out everything that you know into as many people's hands, minds, and hearts as you possibly can. And I share that, but on I think a more limited scope. I definitely wouldn't be thinking about those people on my deathbed for sure.
yeah, but let's keep moving.
All right. So, real quick, for anybody who's watching, we wanted to make sure you guys knew that if you're enrolled in any existing program, it's not going anywhere. Like, we're not going to delete them and delete the people, the contacts, and take away access to the courses. That's not going to happen. So, nothing is changing about the existing communities. Those will still be present, whether that's property preservation, whether that's side hustle heavy, whether that's our property preservation insiders. Like, that's still going to be the same. And you still going to have lifetime access to all the courses. So, don't think that this is a way for us to kind of skip out and transition into a whole new endeavor. That would never happen. And that's certainly not the case here. So we just want to make that clear for any existing customers. In terms of what's different about Mindset to Money, we aren't necessarily promising financial freedom. I think that what we're trying to do is share as much information and knowledge as we can, put it out into the communities, into the universe. I am perpetually stunned at just how many things I didn't know, even with being so-called smart or educated, college educated, having an accounting degree, working in corporate America. There actually is levels to it, and quite a few levels as well. And the thing that probably jumped out at me the most inside of the mastermind that we're in is that you actually can make pretty significant amounts of money in relatively short periods of time, but it does require that you know where to make those investments at and that you have the money to do so. So you have to have access to that capital, but they do it. And I see it. We see it, a couple times a week. We see deals that come by. As part of the group, we analyze respective deals. And it is astonishing to see that, oh, we 2x our money, we 3x our money, we 4x our money in 12, 18, 24 months. Like that is a very real thing. And once you see that, the way that you think about money, I think is permanently shifted. Thomas, what about you?
Yeah, there's one thing I want to share in particular at this point. So one of the things that's different that I think differently about now with respect to money is savings. So we're all kind of taught to save money, to have a savings account. And I don't think that I understood until I got into the investment group that Danielle was talking about, that rich people just think very differently about stuff like savings. And if you've got money sitting around like cash, it's actually losing money in terms of inflation. So I don't keep savings anymore. I have an emergency account. And let me tell you what I mean. My emergency account is cash, and it can be anywhere between 3, 6, 9, or 12 months. Like that's how you want to think about your emergency account. But it's literally for if something goes bad, you need to tap into cash, you have that available and you can get to it usually that day, at most within like 24, tops 48 hours. So that's your emergency account. But beyond that, to have cash sitting around in savings is literally an entire waste of money. You're losing money on inflation. So if you, beyond your emergency account, all your cash should be invested in something. That's the only way that you're ever going to start to really level up. And that's not the narrative that is taught out in the world. Everybody talks about savings accounts, but it's a total waste of money. And there are ways, even with crypto, that I'm learning a little bit more about now, with staking coins and stuff. Very, very low risk type of situations where you can be earning lots of money on that same amount that's just like sitting in the bank right now, without putting it somewhere to do something highly speculative. There are ways to start to make money on your money that are a lot more aggressive. But the biggest lesson, whatever you do, savings are a total waste of money. You're not going to get anywhere with them. And that's something that like, I just, I had never heard anything like that. But if you talk to people with money, their money isn't sitting somewhere. If you talk to them, they're mostly like, well, my money is in stocks, or it's in, funds, whatever it is. It's not sitting. So that's one thing that I want to share about that.
Yeah, and if it is sitting for, if they do have a surplus of cash from like an exit or something like that, they are frantically looking around for somewhere to park
Yep.
that money, even if it's earning 8, 9, 10%. They're like, okay, I got a bunch of money I need to dump somewhere. Where can I put it at? It's never just about, let me just hold on to this pile of cash, which is, I think, how many of us have been conditioned to think about money.
And while you're doing that, Danielle, so mindset to money, just in case everybody here doesn't know, the business that Danielle and I are partnered in currently was called Real Estate Profit Lab. And that business had a few different products, has a few different programs and products that are really recession-proof types of business opportunities that allow people wherever they're at. Like you don't need a college degree, you don't need licenses to be able to level up on their income. The flagship program is called Property Preservation Mastery. It's $2,500, but within 12 months, if you follow this program, you can put yourself in a position where you're making like 6 figures per year within 24 months, multiple 6 figures per year. And it's basically managing bank-owned properties, like the actual upkeep of them, managing third-party contracts to go do that work. And this is a recession-proof business, but everybody doesn't want to run a business. And so then we came up with a product called Side Hustle Heavy. It's a membership that allows people to make an additional $1,000 to $1,500 per month just doing tried and true side hustles that Danielle did herself before she ever got into property preservation, to actually start to generate her first 6 figures. This is something that, the single mom in Inglewood who, can't put food on the table, like literally $1,000 extra per month that comes in like clockwork, that is life-changing money. And so what we start to see with mindset to money is our programs are really a stair step. They're a ladder that allow people in any walk of life to find a way to start to make their money go from survival mode to stability, from stability to a little bit of flexibility, from flexibility to independence. That's what we're trying to produce here, is giving people an opportunity wherever they're at, right? Whatever your financial situation, you can actually get financially autonomous. You can get to a point where you've got passive income within a few years, just from going to side hustles to business to assets.
I feel like this is a perfect segue into some of the issues with the current financial landscape. And we talk a lot about, real estate not real estate versus crypto, but there's a lot of, chatter online about, which one is better, which one should you do. And I want to ask you guys a question for those of you who are watching on or in the live in the Zoom session, or if you're watching this on YouTube as well. If someone offered you $75,000 and you only had to pay them $1,200 a month, would you take that? Would you take that deal just without knowing any other information that they're going to give you $75,000 today and you're going to repay $1,200 a month with interest? Would you guys take that deal? Let me see. Somebody said, people are saying no, no, no. Will this be available to watch later? Somebody said I need more details. Basically, what I'm getting at is this: a lot of people are looking to build wealth and make money, and they'll do things like go out and pay cash for single family properties. So if you're someone who's done this, this is not me like throwing shade or saying this is a terrible idea. I've done many terrible things over the course of the last 14 years as an entrepreneur. So it's definitely not that, but paying $75,000 for a house that then is going to turn around and generate $1,200 a month is going to be a long, hard road to getting quote unquote financial freedom or generating enough passive income to live off of. Would you guys agree with that? Or do you guys get that concept? I think that's that's very prevalent in our community. What we see online is that folks are just like out here just trying different things because everybody else is doing it. And just because everyone else is buying real estate or buying single family houses and putting in a tenant and generating $1,200, $1,400, $2,000 a month, like that doesn't necessarily mean that's the route that you have to go. So we'll be spending more time about that over the course of the next year or so, but I just wanted to kind of drop that seed in there because it is a very powerful mindset shift, I think, once you get that concept. All righty. What products, programs, and services should you guys expect? So of course, our existing programs that Thomas just talked about briefly, we have our ebook, Baby Steps Financial Freedom. That's not going anywhere. This is a dope ebook, by the way, if you're not familiar with it. So there's legitimate side hustles in here, like 30 ones that I've done myself, everything from property inspections to broker price opinions, to flipping used cars, to insurance inspections, to a whole bunch of things. So that's in there in that ebook. So that's not going anywhere. And then of course, property preservation mastery. If you've not subscribed to the YouTube channel, if you've not taken some time out to look at all the various student success stories, as I talk to them on camera, I think that'll be a great use of time just to kind of see how that works and how some people are doing, even during the pandemic. And Side Hustle Heavy, we just mentioned that. This is a separate membership offer with where we go through a tried and true side hustle every single month. And then there's 30 plus legitimate side hustles. Oh, these kids. Side hustles total. Go ahead.
I don't want you to skip through this. So what y'all should know about Side Hustle Heavy, the ebook, right? The $21 ebook is this Baby Steps Financial Freedom. Those are the side hustles that are available. So you can buy that $21 ebook and legitimately like be making an additional $1,000 to $1,500 every single month following those side hustles. But some people, they actually just feel like they need more momentum, they need more community. So we created Side Hustle Heavy as a way to take one side hustle per month from the ebook and actually just make it live. So Danielle does a video about it. There's a Facebook group. Everybody's doing that same side hustle during the month, kind of bouncing energy off of each other. So it creates an opportunity for more momentum. But if you need a place to start with the ebook, $21, and you can level up and get your money together and move on to the next thing. So honestly, it doesn't matter whether you're buying our products or not. We want people to find a way to get to financial stability and continue to kind of level up step by step. So as y'all can see, I talk more than Danielle. I'm long-winded.
No, it's good. I was just going to say, one thing I've noticed with Side Hustle Heavy, or just talking to our customer base in general, I've noticed this thing, and you guys can let me know if this is something you've noticed as well. There is a tendency to want to get right to the money. People are like, they'll see, I posted a reel the other day where one of our students had a $15,000 month in January. Great individual. She's a serial entrepreneur, very, what's what I'm looking for? Very sharp in terms of business. And that's how she approached her property preservation company. So she had a $15,000 month. And many people are like, I want that. I want to do that. but they don't necessarily know the backstory for her. Her name is Nerese, and her video is actually up on YouTube as well. You don't know the backstory, the fact that she is an experienced entrepreneur. She does know what she's doing. She knows how to run a business. She's not starting her first, preservation is not her first business that she's ever done. And what I found is that many people want to just get right to the money and kind of skip, like, oh, these side hustles, I don't need, $1,000 a month or $1,500 per month. But I've spent many more years needing $1,500 per month than I have not needing it. And if you think about the average person, let's say you make, I don't know, $50,000 a year. Well, if you make an extra $2,000 per month, you've given yourself a 50% raise, right? So 2,000 times 12 is 24,000. If you only make 50, now you're at 74. That's a big deal, right? As opposed to, I want to go from $50,000 a year to $400,000 a year. Like that's a bit of a different scenario. So I think that, it's important to not kind of look down on things that, may not be a bunch of money, but it's super consistent. And really my first six figures came from doing broker price opinions, which is a side hustle that I talk about in the book. So I just wanted to share that. All right. We're going to talk more about this later. This is just a little teaser for our Six Rings book that we'll be launching, but we'll get back into that in just a moment.
No, wait a minute.
Oh.
Hold on now. No, we're not getting ready to just go through that. She just wants to jump straight through the big announcement. We didn't promise y'all a big announcement. This is it. We're actually putting out a full book, laying out all of this stuff. Danielle, we needed to pregame a little bit more. You just skipping through all the good meat. Now let me tell y'all something about this, because I actually want to share this now. So this book right here, we told y'all about the mastermind that we're both in, right? A lot of y'all probably don't follow me on social media. I don't do a whole lot. Like my Instagram is private, my Facebook is private. But if you do, I run down a lot of game about like investment, about business. I share quite a bit. And what we decided to do with this book is basically formalize all of what we've been doing for a long time anyway, which was just like giving away so much information. We just said, look, we are spending a lot of money on groups and learning that we don't get to share with our people. And why don't we just put together an ebook that allows us to create a structure where we can take all of that investment and just put it in one place. And beyond that, just doing an ebook, we want to do something that was a little bit more personal, that gave people an opportunity to kind of ask questions without it being a coaching environment. And so we came up with this new idea called the Never Ending Ebook. And so we'll come back and get into more detail at the end, but like high level, what you need to know about this is chapter by chapter, as we release information, we're going to have a Facebook group, a community, and we will actually give people an opportunity to interact with us. So you read a chapter, you got some questions, you want us to go a little bit further into detail on things, we're going to be giving y'all an opportunity to not write the book with us, but actually get clarity on the book before it hits the general shelves, and it's going to live like a membership. So as we have new experiences, we join new masterminds, we will bring that information back, put it in the book, and it's going to go into the next chapters and the next chapters. That's why we call it never ending. So you don't have to go and spend $50,000. You can get that game from us for what we charge for the little ebook. I'm done.
So it's in terms of what else you can expect from us, we are going to be doing more live events. I don't think we've done anything since who even knows when, like before the pandemic. I don't even remember a time before the pandemic at this point. I've heard some people call it the damn demic, and I was just like, I really like that. That's the perfect expression to describe it. We'll be talking about more topics too. So this is the stuff that really excites both of us. So more things like trust and how to be your own bank and insurance. And so I feel like this is a good time now to share about my a recent experience that I've had with this whole be your own bank thing. Like you see a lot of things online, and a lot of it is, kind of flashy and trendy. And what I found is that many things will go viral, but it's either mostly inaccurate or there's lots of inaccuracies in it. And so it's very hard to follow. Again, as part of this mastermind, I met someone recently who was able to break down for me and for Thomas, this like the whole concept of how do you be your own bank? Like what do you need to have in place in order to pull that off? And of course, it centers around whole life insurance, which has such a bad rap throughout, everywhere really. But the way she explained it, I immediately got it, and so did Thomas. And I was like, oh, I want to do this. And then to take it a step further, I want to, set my children up to be able to do that same thing. I'll just share this. The lady that I'm talking about, she has a 12-year-old daughter. Her 12-year-old daughter is shopping for her first investment property because she has enough money in her built up in cash value in her life insurance policy to go out and be able to buy a property. And she's 12. And this is all because her mom set this up for her when she was, a baby. And so when I hear stories like that, I tend to pay a lot more attention than, the things that I see on social media that trend and go viral, because I'm like, wait a minute, did she just say her 12-year-old is about to go buy a property? And she wasn't even like bragging or anything. It was just like every day and very common and very normal for her. And in her circle of friends and her peers, it actually is very normal. So I just wanted to share. So we'll be talking more about things like that, and trust as well. I do have a trust set up. That was another whole experience and wasting a bunch of money, but I finally was able to get it done correctly. So you can expect more topics like that.
Hold
And
on,
then
hold on.
go ahead.
Before you move on. All right. So this is kind of our cadence, just so you know. Danielle says some stuff, and I'm like, no. We got to get into the tactical
The
details.
details.
You let
Yeah.
me. So what Danielle is talking about is not just whole life insurance.
Yep.
It's called non-direct recognition,
Mhm.
dividend paying whole life insurance. And so what you see on the shelf, like your general insurance that most people have access to when you go in and get insured, it's direct recognition insurance. They don't say that, but that's all you see in the marketplace. Non-direct recognition is like it's a custom made policy. You have to have somebody who specializes in that, and they literally craft this policy for you. And here's what it means. If you had $100,000 of cash value in a direct recognition whole life insurance policy, which is generally what we all have, then if you took out $95,000 of excuse me of cash out of that policy to go do something, then as you would expect, you would only have $5,000 of cash value left, and that's all that you will be getting a dividend on from the market. And so that's how it works. You take out 95 and you have left, the cash that's left. That's direct recognition. Non-direct recognition is if you have $100,000 of cash value, you can take a $95,000 loan on it, and the policy will continue to earn dividends in the market as if that entire $100,000 was still there. Non-direct recognition. So you're still earning a dividend from the market. You can loan your business that money to go and buy an asset. In my case, a crypto mining rig that then generates more income. And then the crypto mining rig, in my case, is a physical asset, right? It's a machine, it's a computer that I can actually depreciate. And because it's a piece of hardware, it qualifies for as a capital asset in the business. And you can take bonus depreciation on it, which means 100% of the purchase price of that hardware, I get to write off in year one. Unlike real estate, where you get to depreciate it over many years, I think it's like 3.69% over many years. Bonus depreciation is 100% in year one. And so I'm going to give you real numbers. 2021, I bought 5 crypto mining rigs, and they were about $92,000 cash total. 7,000 of that was the professional management fee, right? And so you can't write that off. 85,000 is hardware that I actually paid for. I got to write off $85,000 off of my net taxable income in 2021. This is the kind of stuff that rich people do. They buy assets, and I'm not rich, just letting you know. They buy assets, right? They have those assets generate income. They take out some debt on those assets, and you don't pay taxes on debt, right? And so you can take some of that debt, and if you've pulled some cash out, you can then replenish the value in that whole life insurance policy, and then loan that money from the insurance policy back out to the business. And so as you take out debt from the business, after the assets have appreciated, put cash back in the policy, you're then starting to grow money tax-free. That's what it looks like high level. So some of that might have sounded a little bit confusing, but I just wanted to let y'all know like some of the meat that we plan on getting into in 2022. It's not just general conversation. We plan on running down exactly how this thing works. And
Yeah.
as we learn, we just gonna share it.
Yeah. And then just to do a smaller example. So I am debating about getting a mortgage to buy a property here in Texas. And every day I literally change my mind. It depends on how I feel. But anyway, there's a down payment. My down payment was about $40,000 that I can put down. So instead of, holding that $40,000 in my Bank of America savings account, earning pretty much nothing, I instead started this exact type of non-direct recognition whole life policy, put the money in there. And the crazy part about it, y'all, is that I can turn around tomorrow and request 95% of that $38,000 to go and put down and get the house that I would be doing anyway. So when she explained it to me, I was just like, oh, well, I would have done this years ago had I known about it. And then also it's just, and then also you could take the money out this time instead to go buy crypto mining rigs. I have 5 rigs as well. That I got, was it last year? Yeah, last year in August, I think is when they went live. And so you can also take the money out to go do things like that. But in real life, I was able to kind of see in practice where I could hold this money for my down payment. And really, it's not at any risk. I mean, these companies, these insurance companies, if you research them, you guys should do this independently. They haven't missed a dividend in like over 100 years. So they don't, and they're flush with cash. Like these companies are not like a traditional bank, or not, I shouldn't say a traditional bank, but they're not skating by with, very, very low margins. Like they have money, at their disposal. So the money is not at any risk. It's just sitting there, which you can kind of think of it as a high yield savings account versus it just sitting in your, regular savings account earning 1%. So I thought that was pretty cool.
All right, one last thing I want to say.
Yeah.
The lady that Danielle's talking about, so I think Danielle's already done an interview with her. We'll probably do another one,
Yep.
inside of Mindsets of Money. But she has, I think she's about our age. I'm 42. I think she's about our age.
She's
I
41.
want y'all to understand this. This just, I had to question my whole existence after she told me this. This lady has 16 of these whole life insurance policies that we talked about. So she's got them for her kids, on her husband, et cetera. When her and her husband pass, her kids will inherit something like $50 million from these insurance policies. Yeah, Tiffany, I see your face. 50 million. That's a real number.
And her goal is 100 million, right? It's not even.
This is what I'm saying. Like in one lifetime, you can set up 3-4 generations. And this isn't even entrepreneurship, y'all. This is not about going out and building a business and all that stuff. If you know what kind of investments to make and how to move money around the right way, one generation, you can set up your family for 3-4 generations down the line. But who among us has ever heard of non-direct recognition? Like we're just not told about this stuff.
Yeah. And then one last point and I don't know how comfortable you are with sharing this. Sharing this, Thomas, but you can actually talk to people who work in life insurance and who've been doing it for decades, who still won't know about either non-direct recognition, or they won't know about the fact that about the strategy to borrow money from your whole life policy to buy assets that produce cash flow, and then kind of making that a cycle. Like you can find people who with 20, 30 years of experience who'll look at you like you speak in another language. And that was also mind blowing to me too, to kind of have that experience. It's like, well, damn, like you didn't know about it. And so then you, at first, if you're the average person, you're like, well, if they don't know about it, then it must not be legitimate. But then when you start talking to folks like Mary and like everybody in her circle, this is how they live their life. It's like, oh, okay. It's just a different experience. So. All righty, vetted affiliate courses. So we also plan on doing we're not just going to be offering programs that we've created over the last couple of years or so. We also have a plan in place to bring you access to very high quality programs, as through our affiliate partners. But the thing about it is that These these may or may not be your online faves. So I want to start off by saying that it may or may not be the people that have the most followers, the most YouTube subscribers, the most engagement online. So, if you notice that and you have questions about it, then I don't know I don't have anything specific to say about it other than we do plan to bring you like courses that have legitimate track records that are solid, that deliver the results they say that they're going to. And that's our plan as well. And these courses will be, of course, around real estate, and then some other areas as well. So that's also a part of what we plan to deliver throughout 2022 moving forward, because I think that it is important to, I won't ever speak negatively about online programs because, we have them. So, and I know that they work, but I do know that there's quite a bit of fluff in the marketplace. I do know there's quite a bit of courses that don't do what they say. And some of these courses cost a whole bunch of money, and I've paid for some of them. So I know exactly, what the pitfalls are. So Thomas and I plan to develop our own kind of internal system for evaluating, respective courses. And then once we put it out there, then that'll be kind of our stamp of approval to let you guys know that this is a course that we actually do, stand behind, that we think will deliver the benefits that you guys are looking for. So that's also on the agenda as well.
And I want to say something about this. Yeah, I think this is going to be a pattern. I want to say something about this. All right. So beyond just kind of in general, we're going to be offering courses. Everything is living inside of the 6 rings. And so what we're going to be doing is literally going out to the marketplace and evaluating courses, because we're in like masterminds right now with the top 100 Black online marketers in the country. We're in these groups. We know what people are putting out. They're our peers. And so we see all of these different programs, and some of them are excellent programs. Some people have just like great marketing, but the content may not be as on point. And some people, maybe the marketing isn't on point, but content is on point. We don't care about how popular anybody is. We want to make sure that we bring a vetting mechanism that just brings you the highest quality courses from people who really do a great job teaching and breaking down elements. And also we want to position those inside of the rings. So if you're like, you've identified that you're in ring 2, then we're going to be able to show you, here are the 7 courses that we've identified across these 3 different industries that are appropriate for somebody who's in ring 2 trying to get to ring 3. Or if you're in ring 3, here are the 4 courses right now that are featured courses that are for people trying to go from ring 3 to ring 4. So I want to be really specific. Everything is about this 6 rings and how to help people identify where they're at and level up, step by step, little by little. So it's going to be a really structured approach.
Thank you for that insight. I don't know how this slide got to be here as far as background, but we'll get into I feel like I might have misplaced the slide, but anyway, I'll go ahead and get into. I was
wondering what this was doing here in the middle of the presentation. I thought maybe you had a plan I didn't know about, because I'm looking at the slides. I don't know.
So I've been to swim practice today. I've been out to order pizza, just doing what I do on a regular day. And so we got what we got. But for those of you who are watching and have no idea who I am or who Thomas is, I'll just give a few minutes about my background. I am a full-time entrepreneur. I was laid off in 2007. I worked in internal audit. My first job was at American Express at 1 South Wacker Drive in Chicago. That first job, I made $50,000 a year, and I thought that I was paid. I thought that I was making so much money. And I'll never forget getting my first check, which I thought was going to be like $1,900, $2,000. And my first check was $1,183. And I just remember being like so stunned. Like, how did I spend all these years in high school? I did a year of grad school, so 5 years in college at University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. And I never knew that I would only see $50,000 on paper. That is a type of injustice that I think we need to fix in the world. Like, this is ridiculous. And I bet it's still happening today. One of my Facebook friends, shared that her teenage son got his first job and he got his first check. I think he's working at Chick-fil-A or something like that. And he just didn't know why his check was so, short, as he called it. It is just like, man, we got to do better at explaining to, our young people what it actually means to get a check and be an employee and to, well, W-2 employee, because it's a lot to it. And you shouldn't find out after 5 years of college. I don't know about y'all, but I just feel like that's not the right way to go. And so I was laid off in 2007. This was right around the time I had gotten my real estate license. And so they were looking for people to volunteer to lay off. And of course, I raised my hand like a dummy, like, oh, I want to be laid off. And then it happened and I wasn't ready. And I struggled for a very long time trying to find my way as an entrepreneur. I shouldn't say I didn't quite know. I didn't know any of the steps that I was supposed to be doing. I didn't have the network or I wasn't building the network that I would need. I would go to like various meetings and pass out business cards. I thought that's what entrepreneurs should be doing. And I had this package from my job. It was $30,000 when I got laid off. And so, I thought that was a whole bunch of money. And so I was just kind of spending that money. I was traveling, got married, went on vacation, didn't pay off no debt, didn't start no businesses, like didn't fund any businesses properly, didn't start any whole life policies. If I had started a whole life policy in 2007, do you know what I would have right now? Like, I didn't do any of that. And so I struggled I didn't replace my corporate salary until between years 5 and 6 of being an entrepreneur. And that's not to say that it'll take any one of you are watching, 5 or 6 years, but that's what it took for me. And largely because I was figuring it out myself. And then it was through broker price opinions that I hit my first, 6 figures, $100,000. And I quickly realized that that wasn't the money that, I thought it would be. And I also had this, I call it being master of the universe, syndrome, where I am trying to be the fixer, the problem solver, the bank, the ATM, always trying to help and lend people money. And really, I never had the money to be lending people in the first place. So again, I mentioned earlier that I've had this experience of like banging my head against the brick wall a few times. And so it started even in college, when I got my first refund check, I sent money back home. I didn't buy anything for college that I needed for the most part. I just sent money back home. I was paying rent, doing things like that. And then once I started working, both in my audit job and then as an entrepreneur, I was always, call myself trying to fix things and really to no avail. Never really got back. I can count on 2 fingers people who've ever paid me back. I can count on probably 10 fingers people who are resentful and talk shit about me, all because they've never paid me the money back that they borrowed from me. But it has been it's been a tumultuous experience, for the most part. But I did eventually figure it out. Got into property preservation in 2013. By 2014, we're making $330,000 plus per year. Started teaching about it in 2016 or 2017 or so. Started working with Thomas here in 2019. We'll get into that in just a moment because that's actually a really good story I want to share with you guys. And then finally became a 7-figure business in 2020. So that is 13 years after being laid off from internal audit. So there's probably some other things I'm leaving out along the way. But I just want to kind of give a background on my experience so far. Mr. Stovall.
All right, am I up?
You're up. Oh, sorry about this picture too.
So Danielle, just so y'all know, she will put anything just does not care about the bullet point, font size. You will have the same word, 2 letters in the word, just different. I'm like, how do you sleep at night with this level of disregard? Anyway, so I'm Thomas KR Stovall. I am an electrical engineer by trade. I went to Tennessee State University, played basketball on the team there for a couple of years, thought that I was going to play in the league, and woke up and realized that I was going to have to do something with my life. And I actually started my first business in college, my junior year, after an internship, a couple internships at Abbott Laboratories. I realized that I didn't really like the corporate thing, but I really did enjoy business. And so it just dawned on me, okay, I guess that means I should be an entrepreneur. And I liked hooking up my car at that time. So I thought, ding, 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 I'm going to sell custom wheels and tires because then I get to buy my inventory at wholesale. When people ask me where I get my wheels and my sounds, I get to say you can buy them from me, and I get to write it off at the end of the year. That was my big plan. That's it. And I did that business all through college, uh, made a few extra dollars, learned a lot about human nature, and that your friends are not going to buy your stuff. But once you look like you have money, even if you don't, then them and everybody else wants to buy your stuff. It's the oddest thing. So I spent the first part of my entrepreneurship career trying to fake it till I kind of made it, until I was 30, and I got a mentor who whipped me into shape. Thank goodness. Somebody was willing to stop, slow down, and take me under their wing a little bit. But I'll come back to that. So I graduated in '03, and I got my electrical engineering degree. I put it up on the wall and never looked at it again. I've been an entrepreneur since college. The only job I've ever had was for 6 months in 2006. I was coming back from apprenticing in LA at a real estate private equity investment firm. And I took a job selling office products, pencils and sharpeners and desk tape and other illustrious things. It was one of the most depressing things that I have ever done in my life. I'm not built for it. And I saved up enough to put a down payment on my first piece of property. I got the clear to close on October 13th, 2006. I quit my job that day immediately. And October 31st, I closed on my first property in Chicago on the South Side. And over the next 18 months, I was able to turn that $3,000 savings into a 7-figure real estate investment firm, purchasing properties, renovating them. What I can do is manage a spreadsheet. I know how to do that. So that worked out for me. Never lost money on a deal. I did that in the middle of the downturn in the economy, primarily because what I learned how to do out in LA was purchase and manage, and manage construction on foreclosed properties, bank-owned properties. So I didn't have a problem with the market, but what I didn't know is how to manage people or grow a team or anything like that. So when you have no background with any sort of real money and you're flush with cash, and it's hard for anybody to tell you anything. I'm a reasonably smart guy, and I'm pretty humble when I meet the right person. But that was a time in my life where I definitely leaned into a little bit more, feeling like I knew more than I did. And honestly, once I realized that I was in trouble, it was too late. Real estate is an unforgiving beast. So that business, that house of cards fell. I found myself at 30 years old in 2010, moving back in with my parents in the same room that I grew up in, same stuffed animals, sitting there mocking me on the bed every day. And it was really a humiliating time because I love taking care of people. As y'all can kind of tell, I'm a very giving person. And so I was used to being the guy who, when I went out with friends, I could pick up the tab for 2 or 3 friends. We have a good time, and I couldn't pick up my own tab, right? I could pretty much only order water, and it was humbling for me because I didn't want to be out with friends and have anybody buying me a plate of dinner, even if they were cool with it. So I just kind of stopped hanging out quite a bit, and it was 2 years of me kind of trying to figure out my way forward. And looking back on it, I probably went through depression during that time, because it's like 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. That's a tough thing. And when there's no light at the end of the tunnel, I don't know if some of y'all have gone through this. It may not have been a business that you lost, but it is really tough going through that mostly by yourself, because at that point I wasn't necessarily communicating how I felt with a lot of people. I'm good, I'll work it out. But honestly, that was a really tough time. So I can probably sense it on people to a degree now. But after a couple of years of that, I tried a few different businesses. I started a technology business, and excuse me, ended up doing a technology partnership with a guy who came out of Tennessee State with me, built out some enterprise software, It's currently patented. It's a microfeedback platform. So we've done business with Ford, with Diageo. Small company, not making any money, but it is a cool product, and I'll probably come back around to it. But I spent a lot of years without the financial backing to really make that what I wanted it to be, and which is another reason why at this point I'm so focused on making sure that people, myself included, are financially autonomous. It sucks to have to ask people for permission to do what you want to do versus doing the work, understanding where to go and how to build with people who are moving in the same way. So I've struggled through a lot of those years, and that's why I'm so passionate about it now. But after I built my software business, I found myself being the only Black founder in a lot of rooms. And it just got to be kind of lonely and depressing. So I actually created a membership organization called I'm Black in Tech. It ended up growing to about 6,000 members across 16 countries who've raised and generated close to $500 million in their startups. So the folks you saw in Black Enterprise, folks you saw on Shark Tank, like these were people who I brought to Chicago, put on stage so that other folks could see them up there and say, man, that guy sounds just like my brother. This woman like reminds me of my auntie. And they could hear from their mouths, look, y'all, 3 years ago, I didn't know what I was doing either. You just have to go. And so that was what I wanted to do, was just make it accessible for people to see the folks who look like them, who were building technology companies from all over the country. And we built out that global network. And that's something I'm super proud of. That footprint still lives. We still have a lot of people who engage with I'm Black in Tech, but that's kind of a past life technology, but I still have my hand in it. And the online education space, I've always done business consulting. More recently, in the last few years, I found myself, excuse me, kind of doing some work, mastermind work with folks who were in the online education space. So Danielle Leslie, y'all probably heard of her. When the year when she did her first $1 million year, she was in my mastermind, that Q1, right? So she had done like 170 grand before, like that year before. Danielle Pierce, the first year she did her first $1 million, she was in, a coaching program with me. And I have a lot of people who I've worked with. I'm kind of in the background. I don't need the spotlight, but yeah, I tend to be an amplifier for people's hopes, dreams, passions, whatever you're working on. We figure out a way to go get it. So here we are. Me and Danielle have figured out a working relationship that has been super, super beneficial. And it's the first time for me that I've been able to have somebody who literally pulls their own weight. Usually it feels like dragging somebody along. It's the first time where I realized like, maybe I can rest a little bit. I'm gonna rest up for a minute.
Couple things I want to say that Thomas has not mentioned. Thomas is behind a lot of your favorite internet marketers. And, I won't say he mentioned Danielle Leslie, but there's others as well. But he really is kind of like the Black Godfather. So when you think about, at least in terms of specifically in Chicago, but he is an exceptionally brilliant man, right? And entrepreneur and business owner. Like Thomas is somebody that he amplifies the results, but he also brings a level of clarity to whatever you're working on that most 99 out of 100 people won't see. The other thing I'll say about Thomas is that he's very intense. So for example, you might see Thomas at a party or something, right? Like, hey, what's going on? What's up, Thomas? And they're like, oh man, what's going on? Y'all just talking, and Thomas will literally burst out in like 30 seconds and say something like, or add something like, hey, what's the number one thing that needs to happen in your life for you to live the life of your dreams? And
man, you didn't went too far. That's not how it goes down, y'all. I know how to have a nice glass of bourbon and chill out, whatever.
It's like literally these I'm telling you.
Yes, she's not lying.
Who is that?
Yes.
Wendell.
Yes, Thomas. I remember that question.
And it's like, I was just trying to drink my drink here. Like, I wasn't really trying to go dive down into this rabbit hole, but these are the kinds of discussions that you'll have, like, first and foremost. So I've become a much better business owner, but I'm also a much better individual as well, because I have a tendency to kind of, you know, make a decision and not really evaluate whether or not it's right or wrong. If I feel like, this person is getting on my nerves or this client is getting on my nerves, and I'm just like, okay, we'll just delete them. And he's like, no, you can't just delete people because, they asked, they need a lot of help, or they're, high cost. And so we kind of, have gone back and forth about that over the last couple of years. But really he is, I think of him as the Black Godfather. So you guys should know that about Thomas as well.
All jokes aside, y'all, all jokes aside, I live my life from the perspective that lives are on the line. So every conversation I'm in, everybody I meet, I don't know what that person is going through in that moment on that day. I don't know what that eye contact to let them know that they are heard and seen. I don't know what that's going to do for a person. I know what it feels like to grow up, because I was a little guy, like nobody paid attention to me. I was a nerdy dude, and then I sprouted up and things looked a little bit different. But I know what it's like to be in a room and nobody's talking to you. I know what it's like to not be invited to the sleepovers and everything else. So when I walk into a room, I usually find the person who doesn't look comfortable and I make a beeline for them. I want to find the people who are left out, the people who, are trying their hardest to get ahead, but nobody's paying attention, or nobody can break things down the way they need them broken down. That's what I always wanted. So that's kind of why I may be intense. I really do care about people living the lives that they want to live.
Thank you for that, Mr. Stovall. So I think we've covered some notable failures along the way. Thomas had to go back and live with his parents. I filed a bankruptcy a couple years ago, and just, spent a lot of time and money letting people borrow money that I never got back. But we're both currently in ring number 4, which is which is 100% of current bills are paid through passive investments. And for me, it's the cryptocurrency mining rigs, and also for Thomas as well. And I think mindset shifts along the way. We've covered quite a few of those, whether that's in terms of thinking about insurance or planning for legacy, thinking about the next generations. I know a lot when, as a child, I can't think of any conversation that I've ever been a part of where there was, actual planning being done for anything beyond the next week. And I think that, I won't say that's the norm for everybody, but I do think that it's pretty common. And so when you grow up in an environment where people are literally living check to check and literally struggling to pay rent or put gas in a car, or I remember being in college and just being, I flip-flop between being depressed and being just in a blind rage, because I remember asking for like $10 and $20 or $30, when I was 17, 18 years old, and nobody would have it. And I just remember thinking, like, how the hell do you not have $20 and you're like 45? And of course, there's a variety of reasons for it, and I didn't know everything, but at the time it felt like this is some BS. Like, I don't want to live my life. I don't want this, for the rest of my life, because it's very, like I said, I flip-flop between being depressed and being in a rage, because I couldn't understand why nobody around me seemed to ever have anything, and just was always focused on, the next 5 minutes. And so when you live your life like that, when you start to get into things like this mastermind and start thinking about, and you get around people who are planning for the next 100 years, it's a bit of, it's enlightening, but then it's also, I think also sometimes enraging for me as well. I'm just like, well, damn, if somebody had done this for me, like, I'd be straight. I wouldn't have to work right now at all. I wouldn't have to do anything. And when you think about it, it doesn't require having millions of dollars. What it does require, though, is a plan and execution. And, that was something that I didn't have. Anything you want to share about that, Thomas?
Yeah, what's been interesting for me is over the last 2 years, I've gotten much more serious about just understanding money and investments, because it's very different knowing how to make money versus knowing how to actually grow money and keep money. I've known how to make money for a long time, That is not a problem. But it's only within the last few years that very transparently that I got like taxes squared away, that I started using a bookkeeper and knowing what my monthly, reconciliation looked like. There's all the little stuff that is just not talked about as much. And for me, I think that being in the rooms with people who they have the luxury of it being just normal, right? They don't even know that people don't know the stuff like that. I like the lady Mary, I asked her, is it, do all of her clients kind of know this insurance, this non-direct recognition insurance thing? And she gave me the look like, of course they do. It was like an incredulous look, like, are you, of course they do. All 1,000 plus of my clients. And I'm like, well, what about your friend groups and your family? And she's like, yeah, literally everybody in my circles, this is common knowledge. And I just thought to myself, what would it be like in our communities if this kind of stuff was common knowledge? What would it be like? But it's a challenge because even in my groups of high net worth friends, I move around the cabin. I got friends of every complexion, but my high net worth friends who look like me, they move different with the information that I share, right? There's not as much trust that's present. There's a level of skepticism. We move much slower quite a bit of the time. And I've found myself my entire career being one of just, a handful of people who are my age, my complexion in these rooms. And it's no different now. So I think that, what I want to do is just do what I can. I don't have a cape on. I'm not trying to save anybody. But what I am going to do is continue to be in these rooms. And now that I'm at a place where my oxygen mask is on, my family's oxygen mask is on, I can take some time and bring this information back and try to help as many people as I can who are listening to just level up. That's where we're at.
Yeah, which brings us into why we're doing this. Of course, we wanted to, it's not just real estate. I think real estate is obviously a useful tool in the toolbox, but I don't think it is, nor should it be the primary tool. If you ask the people that are inside of the mastermind or people, really high net worth individuals, they won't list real estate as a top, thing to do in order to quote unquote be wealthy. Now, granted, a lot of real estate millionaires have been made, but they would probably say things like, there's this one guy in particular, he swears by life insurance as the number one tool, not real estate. It's not just property preservation that we plan on focusing on going forward. Of course, preservation is still going to be a part of the company and the community and our product offering, but it won't be the sole flagship product anymore. We do plan to bring on, those vetted affiliate courses that we talked about earlier, but we really wanted to offer a 360-degree approach to financial autonomy. And financial autonomy, as we think of it, is 100% of your bills paid from true passive income. And that, I think, is the level of breathing room that, I want to see more people at, because once you get to a point where you're not thinking about money or thinking about the next disaster every second of every day, you kind of start to figure out who you really are and how you really want to show up in the world. There's a different level of, I think it's kind of like being underground, and then you finally get your head above ground. You're like, oh snap, it's a whole, it's another world out here. It's that feeling. And that's the feeling that I want for more people to have. I told Thomas, we've many times, but, recently I said, I want to be able to have people have the shift that I've had just from working with him in such close capacity. Thomas is the person who told me about the cryptocurrency mining rigs and lifestyle investor and, the be your own bank. I've heard about it, but he's the first person who kind of helped me to do it and break it down in a way that made sense. So I want people to have those types of shifts that I had. I want it to be more common.
Yeah. And if we can do that in a group, that's more powerful. Like when I joined the Lifestyle Investor Group, my first thought was to go out and create a little mini investment group so that I could take the lessons I was learning and bring them right back. So Danielle was one of those people. There's 9 of us in the investment group now. And immediately within the first 60 days, I think 4 or 5 of the people in the group, like we put out 300 grand and bought mining rigs. And so those stories, just like we want to do more of that. That's just 9 of us. But what if there were 25 or 50 or 75 or 100 people all living inside the same perspective, moving in the same direction, trust being built, coupling resources. I just think there's more power in groups than just like, I got mine and I'm straight.
Yeah, a lot of us, and even inside of the community that we're in with all the top Black, 7-figure and 8-figure earners, a lot of us are, we're in our little silos, and there's a variety of reasons for that. I think part of it is, this is what we've been doing. I know I've been in my silo for many, many years until I started working with Thomas, but it's also fear. It's also probably some jealousy or concern that, somebody's going to start doing what you're doing or take away from what you have. There's a whole bunch of reasons behind it. And that's why we know we can't save everybody, because some of the stuff that we have to uncouple or or shift, I don't have the power to do it. And I don't think Thomas does either. But for people who are, somewhat flexible and open to thinking about, maybe there might be another way. Maybe I don't have to, struggle and strive all my life and figure it out. I think that's where the power is. We're trying to reach those people who are like, man, I'm tired of doing this by myself. Man, I'm tired of being this one person show. I'm tired of talking to people who don't, we don't even speak the same language. That's kind of the sweet spot. Now, for some people, for everybody else, God bless them. All right, I want to read this, but I can't because the screen is not allowing me to show it. But basically, our goal is to impact the entirety of the Black community with clear, objective, step-by-step, tangible things that people can do right from the spot they're at, regardless of the spot that they're at, to level up their income. That's the goal. Anybody care to comment on the worst job they've ever had while we're talking about leveling up income? I feel like that would be a good icebreaker. You can feel free to just drop it in the comments down below. When I think about the jobs that I've had, Thomas, you mentioned selling pencils, I think. I worked at Solo Cup in Urbana. It's a factory, and my job at Solo Cup was to watch the plastic lids for plastic cups come out of the machine and make sure that the machine didn't jam before it bagged up the plastic lids and, wrapped it so they can go off to wherever they were going to. So that was the worst job that I've ever had. And I've had a lot of jobs that were just, awful along the way. But Solo Cup stands out as the worst one that I've ever had.
I'll tell you my worst one.
It wasn't selling pencils?
No. It was worse than this. So there was a summer, I think it might have been my sophomore year in college. I was home and I was just kind of extra lazy. No. I think I was still in high school actually. So I was extra lazy this summer and just kind of laying around, watching a lot of TV. My mom came downstairs one time and she sees me on the floor, and the level of disgust that was in her face, like, if you don't get out of here and do something, I don't care what it is. So I just went to the temporary agency. I got a job and it was at a paint factory. And I walked in and I lasted about 48 hours, and that changed my entire life. I'm not playing, because the way that it was inside of the space, there was just like no life at all. There were no conversations about anything. There was no upward movement. It was like devoid of any type of energy. And I just thought, there's no way that I'm going to be able to do this type of kind of manual labor in these types of environments. I'm never doing this again. I got my butt up and I went and got a job at Red Lobster. And I kid you not, I was the best server at Red Lobster. I had people wrote in the corporate about me. I wasn't going back to that paint factory.
I never worked at Red Lobster. I have worked at McDonald's, Burger King, Piccadilly, IHOP, My first job, I was a caddy. That was actually a great job. I love being a caddy because I got paid every day at the end of every round. And I just remember thinking like, man, I'm getting, this is great. I'm getting paid every day. And of course, what did I do? Let people borrow money, pretty much 2 or 3 times a week that I never got back. Where else have I worked at? I worked at Solo. I mentioned that. I worked at FedEx and Urbana as well. That was a terrible job.
Hey,
Yeah.
real quick. It's 10:30. I'm getting sleepy. I gotta get home to my babies. So I wanna give y'all an opportunity to give us money, and we're gonna give y'all an opportunity to allow us to take all the investments that we're making and give y'all all this game, because we're not gonna stop doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it makes sense for the people who want to be able to level up with us. If you think that it's a good investment of your time and your money to spend a fraction of what we spend to get the same type of information and be in a community of people who are moving in that same way, then that's what this offer is. And so Danielle, let me have the screen share for a minute, and I'm actually going to run down the offers if that's okay.
Okay, hold on. Man, there's so many of y'all on here. I love it. Hold on. There you go.
Okay.
Now you good?
And yeah, you can watch the chat too. I'm not watching if there's any questions. All right, so the page that Danielle just put up is mindsettomoney.com/launch. That's this page right here. And on this page, you'll see a high level overview of kind of, what the membership is, the money cycle. But at the bottom, there are 5 offers. And I'm gonna walk y'all through what each one of these 5 offers are. And right now we are in what Danielle and I call the Sandbox Offer. And so if you see when we make new offers available, we always do a Sandbox Offer. That's the first time that we ever make an offer public. And we call it a Sandbox Offer because it is something that we do at a deep discount for the people who are willing to jump in the sandbox with us first and kind of play around a little bit. You will never see prices again that look like the Sandbox. And as we go down the list, you're going to get an idea of what I mean. So with the Mindset to Money membership, you can get a membership anywhere from $97 to $497. Right now, and the memberships are annual. So for the annual membership subscription, right now in the Sandbox, it's $97 per year. After the Sandbox is going to be $197 per year. Annual membership, it'll be a recurrent subscription. And what you get with that, you get an opportunity to be in the community. You get the discounts on our programs. You get discounts on programs that we have from affiliates that we vetted. So that's part of just kind of being inside of this movement as we continue to bring new information in. We're going to have different live events. We'll do stuff like this, where Danielle and I'll get on. We may run down a new strategy that we just learned about at a mastermind. We may bring in people who we're interviewing. So that's the Mindset to Money membership. Now, the lifetime membership today is $497. After launch, the lifetime membership is going to be $4,997. And you may wonder, why is it so high? Because we do things like spending $50,000 on a mastermind and bringing all of that goodness back into the group. So you can think if you want to that this is just like when people be like, well, that's the retail price and you're going to see it again. You are never going to see this price again. So don't pay attention if you want to. You are never going to see this price again, period, point blank. 24 hours from now, that price is going to be gone. So the Sandbox is like right now. So what day is this? Is this Tuesday?
Tuesday, the 27th.
Wednesday, 11:59 Central. This will still be here. When it gets to midnight, this will be gone and you will see this forevermore. All right, so I just want to let y'all know, if you're thinking about it, understand that you are not going to see that again. Now let me move down. So those are the memberships to Mindset to Money, the actual membership organization. Now for the ebook, which we think is pretty cool, you can interact with this one of 3 ways. If you just want to buy the ebook itself, this will be a real ebook. We're going to publish it in Q2, and it's going to run down a lot of the stuff that we talked about, today, and more things as well. but it will be a real ebook that you can buy today, and you can just buy it like a regular book and have it when it comes out, and that's that. And that's $21 after launch. Danielle, I think you need to update the price in Thrivecart. I think I saw that this was $21 today, but it should be $10 today if you want to buy that. Now let's scroll down to the never-ending ebook membership. This is something that you probably have not seen before because we just made it up. And what that means is this same ebook content that right now is static, over time, we're going to continue to invest in ourselves and learn new things and put them down inside of this membership, inside of this book membership. So as we publish a new chapter based on some new financial strategy that we've learned, we're going to share that chapter with the people who are in our community and Facebook, whatever. And those people will be able to say, oh, that was great, but what about this? Can you add in a little bit more detail there? So it's going to be a very interactive situation. And that's throughout the entire year. So you're not co-writing the book with us, but you're getting an opportunity to have a level of direct access to authors of a book as they're writing it. Like, it's not a coaching program, but you're gonna get a chance to do a lot of Q&A. So I don't know where you would get a chance to get direct access to me or Danielle in any other place. But for context, when I do one-to-one coaching, I charge $10,500 per month, and it's a 3-month minimum engagement. I only work with 2 to 3 people a year because I don't have to, and I like my time. So I pick and choose my clients. When I do group trainings, I charge $15,000 for a 3-month engagement in a group training format. So what I'm letting y'all know is this little $97 for the never-ending ebook, you may want to think about it because you will have direct access to me and Danielle. And after this, it'll be $197 per year. And last, if you want to do a lifetime never-ending ebook membership today, that's $497. But if you want to do that for a lifetime today, after the launch, that's going to be $4,997. So again, it's up to y'all to figure out how you want to think about what the investment is worth, whether or not you think that Danielle and I are still going to be around, continuing to grow and learn and share 5 years from now, 10 years from now. But if you buy one of these offers, you will get an opportunity to continue to grow with us in perpetuity forevermore. Never ending means never ending. And our word is our word on this particular offer. So those are our offers for tonight, folks. Y'all have any questions for us?
If you do, you can just unmute yourself and ask the question before we both run out of energy.
I have a question.
Who's that? Tiara?
Yeah, yes.
Hey, girl.
So, hey. So I just want to make sure I'm not confused. So if you want both, is it $497 total or double that? I guess the book and the membership, just to make sure. Let me see.
Lifetime for both? That would be,
yes.
Yeah, you would buy one of each.
Okay. Okay.
Tiara, how's the baby? I meant to ask you that.
She's good. She's finally sleeping a little bit, so I'm getting a little bit of sanity now.
Glad to hear it. All right, I see a
Yes.
question.
You laugh like a supervillain, don't you?
Not a super villain.
Supervillain.
Right.
You are best.
Anybody else have any questions for us?
I see a couple questions in the chat. Dewana says, Sincere says, when will the physical copy of the book be available for purchase, a hardcover copy?
You too.
She says physical though. That's the plan. I thought we were doing an ebook.
Oh yeah, we're not planning on doing a hardcover.
Yeah. So basically never for the physical copy, right?
Maybe a handful of collectibles at a live event or something, but yeah, we're not planning on doing that model.
Dewana says, what's the difference between the membership and the ebook?
For the is she talking about just the ebook itself or the mindset to money membership and the ebook?
Yeah, I think she's talking about the mindset to money membership and the ebook.
So the mindset to money membership, that's where we're going to be doing live events. That's where you get access to discounted programs. That's the actual programmatic element. The ebook is really more so just like the knowledge. So as we go out, we learn new things. We're going to share new things. We're going to be like when I broke down the insurance piece of it. So that's not necessarily going to live in the membership per se. That's more of a thing where as we go through our personal life, we're going to be sharing personal lessons inside the ebook. I don't know if that's clear, but the actual Mindset to Money membership, you're buying programs that can range across real estate. They can range from like lots of different things, but those are actual programs to help you make money. The mindset part of that, what you do with that money, strategy, like you're going to understand from us what we're doing with tax strategy, et cetera. That's like our personal lives. That goes into more of the ebook stuff. Is it live trainings or module based? So programs, if you're buying a course, that stuff is going to be more module based. But when we do live trainings, I think that a lot of the stuff that we do in year one will probably live as more so just like we come across something and like, oh, we should go in and bring this to the community. Danielle and I have a ton of conversations where we just wish we were recording and could share it with somebody. And so that's what a lot of the live trainings will be, is as we actually come across things, we'll just do a impromptu thing and just share it in a Zoom like this, excuse me, and let people do Q&A on our real lives and just kind of get into it. So that's not really module based, but I'm sure we'll have some conferences and stuff as well, but we're not doing that right away.
Is there a certain frequency to the training or to the modules? Like what, if you're talking about impromptu, but is this something like you would do a monthly update or a quarterly, just based on the things that you've learned in that time frame?
So you're talking about are you talking about Mindset to Money membership, or are you talking
Correct.
about yeah. So for the Mindset to Money, think of it as your consistent stuff is access to the program. So like our programming at a discount, other people's programs we're vetting for you. That's kind of the core of the offer. And the cherry on top is when Danielle and I want to cover something in detail, we'll just kind of bring it up. Or if somebody in the community reaches out and says, hey, y'all talked about this thing, would y'all consider doing a training on this? It'll probably look like that, particularly in year one. And that's why this is the sandbox, because we're just going to kind of see what people need and fill that gap as we go. Does that make sense? Was that clear?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Thomas.
No problem.
All right, a couple people ask about the replay. I think we are gonna leave this up or send this out via email to everyone either tonight, probably in the morning. So you have access to the replay for the next 24 hours?
I don't even care if the replay is up for a while. Okay. I mean, you're gonna have access to these prices until 11:59 p.m. tomorrow night.
Gotcha.
So I see somebody asking about, is this a true 24 hours? It's going to be 25 hours and 20 minutes. So 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time on Wednesday, February 23rd is when you're going to wave goodbye to these prices.
Okay. Let me see if there's anything else here. I'm also checking YouTube as well. Somebody said you get the
question you should definitely address. I don't know if you see this.
Wow.
So it says, Danielle's their way to talk offline. And so you get a lot of those requests for offline one-to-one. And this will be a good opportunity for you to share about that, whether or not there's an opportunity to kind of work with you one-to-one.
Oh, no, I don't have that. I don't do the I was going to respond to the chat probably, but of course, here you are, bringing it out in the open. But I don't normally do one-on-ones on the phone or in person. I don't have a link to book a paid consultation. I think I started off doing that a few years ago, but it's just not the best use of time. And we put out so much content over the years and so many things online. There's so many YouTube videos and so many LinkedIn articles and the podcast. And there's just a plethora of information I feel like I'm super transparent all the time. So it's like you get, what you get. I don't have anything to share privately that I wouldn't necessarily share publicly. So yeah, I don't
This is
have
my
to.
guy here. I love.
All right. And then somebody said, what do you recommend as a beginner? Or which option do you recommend as a beginner?
As a beginner in terms of like business or and like what do you mean by beginner? Just so I'm clear on the question.
Okay. And then somebody else says, if we buy at 97, is that going to be the annual renewal price? No, the renewal price is 197 if you buy at 97 today. And Dewan is talking about investments. Beginner investor.
I think it depends on the amount of money that you have. So for me, I'm not really a stocks guy. I don't really do the market. That's not my thing. Excuse me. And the crypto mining was a good fit for me. So I was able to buy a machine. And am I still sharing my screen?
Yeah, you are.
All right, I'm gonna show y'all something real quick, just so you kind of understand crypto. All right, so I'm gonna show y'all two things real quick. One is gonna be my actual crypto mining profits, and the other one is a simulator that I created that'll give you just kind of a high level understanding. So I don't know what Ethereum is trading at right this second. I haven't checked it, but the last time I updated this was on the 20th. So these are the actual like mining rigs that are available. These are physical machines. And so I own 12 of these. This is my real number right here. So as of the 20th, with this dollar amount that Ethereum was trading at, this is the net profit that those mining rigs generate per year. And that's the cash on cash return. After year one, which year one is you're paying for the actual hardware. After year one, I own that hardware and it's just making money. This is almost a 400% return that year. And when I add that in for years 1 and 2, 63% return. Year 3, you can kind of see where these numbers are. So that's on a $20,000 investment times at this point 12. But you also have these things called bitty miners, which are just a fraction of the cost. And even though they don't generate as much, if I put in, let's say you had maybe $6,000, right? 3 of those would be somewhere close to $6,000. It's about 5,600 bucks. Well, those little things, let me put mine at 0 so it's easier to see. So those little things actually have about a 30% return on cash on cash return in year 1. And again, after they're paid for year 2, the returns get much better. So just imagine having like a much better bank account. That's how I think about these little rigs. So if you've got even a small amount of money, you can do this. You buy these little machines, they become an actual tax write-off. So if you're a regular working person, then you get an additional $5,000 or $6,000 off your net taxable income. So you're probably gonna get a nice big return. Little stuff like that is a great way to start. If you don't quite know where to go or what to do, there are ways to put little amounts of money out to work as well and not have much risk to it. This is really conservative, and it doesn't matter what the market is doing. These little machines are just validating transactions online. So regardless of whether Bitcoin or Ethereum is going up or down, I get paid every single day pretty much from these machines because they're doing work. They're like little workers. They're not, like speculating on the market.
I thought you were going to show the cloud miner platform, not your handy dandy spreadsheet that you created.
Well, generally people care more about like seeing the real numbers. So, and these are my real mining profits to date. So I think y'all can see this. I just keep track of this every day. And I started on August 3rd of last year, and up to this point, like these rigs have generated around $36,000, and I do nothing. I don't have, unlike real estate, because I did the real estate before, where you still have to manage things and call people. And even if you have a great property manager, you still got to talk to this mark it's just, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do anything. I want to be able to buy stuff that is passive, meaning I literally do nothing. I check this every couple of days and the dollars just go up. I don't do anything. So I've tried to tell a lot of people about this. I've driven about $2 million worth of sales to the company that sells these things. And the majority of them have come from like an aspect of my network who mostly doesn't look like me. And I wish more people just like understood from a tax benefit standpoint, even where do you get to buy an asset that pays you like this and you get to write off 100% of that asset in year one? It's ridiculous. So, you know, those are the things that I think are a great place to start. Little stuff like this.
All right, it's a lot of questions on YouTube, so I'm gonna run through those, and then we're probably gonna have to get out of here and address the rest via email. So hopefully you guys are on our email list. If you're not, you can head to mindsettomoney.com and put in your email address so that you can get updates for tonight. And then, you know, the future emails that we'll send out going forward. But someone said, will the ebook have info on how to get started with the mining rigs? What specific programs will be offered in order for us to achieve financial freedom?
Let's
Can
just
you
do
list?
one at a time. So
Right.
will the ebook contain information about the mining rigs? Yes, because
Yeah.
we're going to talk about our real lives. So that's part of it. And for anybody who wants like mining rig information now, I've written the 45+ page like detailed case study about my experience with the mining rigs. Where is it at? Crypto overview. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, so this runs down if you're like a regular person like me. I'm not a crypto guy. Like I don't understand all the high level stuff, but I do understand basic considerations on an investment. How much am I going to spend? How long is it going to take to get my money back? You know, what are the tax benefits? So I basically broke down every single thing that I would want to know. And I did want to know when I was thinking about buying, and I just wrote it up, and I've kept really detailed track of my entire experience. And I just keep adding it to this document. And whenever somebody has questions, I just basically send them this, and it's a really detailed rundown. So I'm gonna just share this in the chat for everybody. And this is a crypto mining rig kind of purchase overview.
All right, the next question is, I'm looking at the website. Can you list specifically what programs will be discussed in each stage? I don't even know if I understand that question.
I do.
What
Yeah,
is?
so like, for example, I think that what's being asked is, so if we go to the purchase page, I think we already have some of
Yeah,
the
should go back there.
property.
Hey, Michelle, how's your baby doing? I meant to ask you that. I don't
So
see
to
her.
answer that question real quick.
Hi.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
To answer that question real quick. So like on our property preservation page, we already have it broken down, and we're starting to align our programs specific to like which ring or which stage you're in. So for property preservation mastery, this is a best fit for somebody who's in stage 3 or stage 4. You don't want to do this if you're in survival mode, spending your last 2,500. Like that's not the way to go about this, because you need at least $2,000 in operating costs to manage the business. And it's going to take a couple weeks before you get paid. So this is for somebody who's at a place where they've got a little bit of surplus, and maybe they want to create a business that is predictable, is recession proof, and they want to create an additional 6-figure income outside of their job to start having, you know, freeing up some income to maybe buy more passive income generating assets. That's who this is a good fit for. Our live launch summit is the same thing. This is a half-day event that's for people who want to dip their toe into like getting started with their property preservation business. So if you don't have the money to do a property preservation business, you really ought not be doing the live launch summit. Side hustle heavy is for people who are in stage 1, 2, or 3. So you can be in survival mode. If you can scrape together the 547 to get into the membership, you can be generating $1,000 to $1,500 per month, every month, recession-proof income, period, point blank. The side hustles work. Danielle used these in real life to have her first 6-figure year. And if you're somebody who kind of struggles to catch momentum, you may be someone who's a better fit to be in the community for side hustle heavy, because then you have everybody going through one side hustle per month. You're getting the training, you're getting questions answered. You've got some best practices from other people around the country going through it. And if you're somebody who you don't have $500, you definitely don't have $2,500. If you've got $21 and you need to figure out a way to get an extra $1,000 per month, this $21 ebook has the exact same side hustles as Side Hustle Heavy does. But it's a way to get started that does not give you the live. It does not give you the videos. You're just going to read and implement. And if you got questions, you got to figure it out on your own. That's where the community comes in if you pay a little bit more. So it doesn't matter where you start. We do actually, yes, match the products to the stages. And we're going to do the same thing as we begin to find new affiliates that have programs. We're gonna map them onto the money cycle so that people know which one is a good fit based on where they're trying to go and where they're at right now.
I'm sorry. Another question, probably might be close to the last question, is are we going to be taught how to invest in these different vehicles? That's the question.
So I want to answer that specifically. We are not your financial advisor. What we're going to be doing is literally sharing knowledge that we've learned and sharing how we're using it. And it's important to make that distinction because all we can do is just kind of give you the game as we're getting told it. We're learning this stuff as we go. We just want to loop in the community. So you still need to go and talk to whoever you need to talk to in terms of vetting that and making sure that it feels good for you. You don't treat us like we're the end all be all. So it's not so much we're going to be teaching you. We are not experts in this. There are areas where we're experts and where we teach. We're not going to be teaching this stuff. We're going to be sharing what we learn. And there's a distinction there. So I'm definitely not teaching any of this. I'm not qualified. I'm just sharing what I'm learning.
Ditto. All right, so they asked for the link to the cryptocurrency Google Doc, crypto mining rig Google Doc. So I'll drop that in YouTube as well.
Wait, hold on, baby. Hi, Danielle. Hi.
Hey, who's that?
It's Michelle. Hi.
Oh, hey, girl.
I got my baby right next to me. I just have can you just scroll up? I'm just so, hold on, baby. So $4.97. I'm trying to see if I need, hold on, baby.
Yeah, go back to the other page.
If you don't mind scrolling up for me, please. Hold on.
On this page?
No, the launch page.
The launch page. The launch page, please. Hold on, baby.
Am I on the right spot?
Yes.
Okay, so there's no difference from the membership. So, the lifetime membership. So I'm better off just getting the lifetime membership, right? Like, just to be straightforward, I'm better off getting that, right?
If you want my, what I would do, I can't imagine not buying. This is me.
Yes.
I would not imagine not buying a lifetime membership. If you have any plan on staying engaged with us over any period of time, that doesn't make much sense because you will legitimately see that $5,000 is going to be looking at you in the face forevermore.
I ain't got it. Right. Like, I don't got that right now. So the lifetime membership. So if I get that, could you just scroll down? I don't need to get the book then, right?
Well, they're different things. So remember the mindset to money, like the actual membership. So right now it's in its nascent phases, but over time, there's going to be a lot more live events. We're probably going to be doing partner deals with other people who will come in. So that's a whole different thing. It just probably feels similar to the ebook right now, but the ebook is a lot more personal. That's a lot more like, think of it like Thomas and Danielle's lessons as we go out in the world and spend, a bunch of time, a bunch of money. We're going to bring that back and we're just going to keep adding that into the ebook. Some of that may drip into the membership, but mostly the membership is more about creating the access to opportunity, access to vetted programs, access to discounts, collecting people inside of, collecting people inside of the community, growing a global community of folks who are moving in the same direction, maybe doing some deals together. So these are going to be very different things. They just probably feel similar because they're both, kind of new right now.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, we all good? I'm just responding to stuff on YouTube if I'm looking down.
So hungry.
All right, anything else, you guys? Thank you so much for tuning in. I see most of you guys stuck around. We really appreciate your time. Hopefully we answered all the questions. If anything that we missed, we'll address via email. So if you're not on our list, again, head to mindsettomoney.com and you'll be added to the list and you'll get all our future updates.
All right, everybody. I appreciate your time. Time is literally the most valuable thing that we have. And that's kind of the backdrop of all of this is your time. So we appreciate it. And that's it. We don't have anything else left for y'all. So.
You sound like you don't have anything else left in general.
Yeah, that's it. I'm done. I don't know if I'm gonna subscribe to too many more of these. Y'all might just catch Danielle from now on. I don't know about this. Well,
right, thank you,
leave the
guys.
page up for a couple minutes, Danielle,
Okay.
in case anybody needs it.
Wait, this is your if you're leaving, then you need to give it back to me to share so I can leave it up.
Yeah, I'm leaving. How do I stop my share?
Tell you about black folks, boy.
Hey, Vesta. How you doing?
What's up?
See you.
All right. So let me do a quick screen share. I'm just gonna leave the link up on the screen, and then I'm gonna I gotta go tend to these. Well, they already sleep, but I'm gonna go check on them, make sure they all good. Appreciate y'all.
All right, partner. This
All
was
right.
fun.
Yes, sir. All right. See you next time.